Hi, I apologize for the videos. I actually realized I made a mistake on this slide, so I had to end the other one early and then remake this one. Anyway, so as I was saying, a complex sentence has an independent clause, which is a sentence that can stand on its own and make complete sense on its own. And it also has a dependent clause, which relies on the independent clause for the sentence to make any sense. So I've given you an example here. Alice Springs is widely considered to be the spiritual heart of Australia. Now, if I was to put a full stop there, the entire sentence on its own will make complete sense. It's an independent clause. However, I've added the word since as a conjunction, a subordinating conjunction, in order to make it a complex sentence. Since I didn't finish editing properly, I have to put the word is. Since it is rich in ancient Aboriginal culture, art, and story. Now, if you just go up to somebody and come up with a statement and you just say, since it is rich in ancient Aboriginal culture, art, and story, that is not a sentence on its own. It needs the independent clause. So that's what makes it dependent. It makes the sentence a lot richer, a lot better. It adds a lot more detail, but that's what we're going to be focusing on for this week. So, here is my storyline to continue on from 2 weeks ago before book week. Okay, sorry guys, I've just noticed again that I've made an error. Okay, so one evening, so it's called Gru's Exciting News. One evening, Gru called out to the girls. One evening, Gru called out to the girls with some random but very exciting news. While the girls had forgotten all about their trip down under, the very engaging and interesting paragraph written by Agnes about Alice Springs went viral. Russell and Carl, who lived in a floating balloon house, were looking for a new place to call home, since the street they originally lived on was no longer available. It's a very good video to show you to read over your writing before you actually submit anything. Sorry, I'll read that sentence again. So, Russell and Carl, who live in a floating balloon house, when looking for a new place to call home, since the street they originally lived on was no longer available. Since reading the paragraph, they were considering a move to Alice Springs. With some quick thinking, Edith thought of some complex sentences to share that will convince them to make a move to the heart of Australia. Now I'm going to put a comma here, and I am also going to change this since, and I'm going to write the word after, as I already have the word since in that paragraph there. Okay, so let's have a look at her sentences. So, what I want you to do today isn't too complex. We're just going to start off simple. It is a complex sentence, but the task isn't too complex. I've actually given you the two clauses. One clause is a independent clause, which is over here, and one clause is a dependent clause, which depends on it. I've also put them in the correct location for you in terms of the clauses. Journey to the heart of the sunburnt landscape. Find red desert sand. What you need to do is choose which one matches to create the complete sentence. So, for example, journey to the heart of the sunburnt landscape. I could either use and or two, find red desert sand. So then I will color code this here to match these two. Okay, if you can't find the exact color, you can change the color of all three so that they match. What you might realize is that you might need to end up changing just to make sure, oh, sorry, that was a highlighter, that they match. Okay, so that's what I would like you to do. Walk to the breathtaking Larapinta Trail and take in the view, and then you can also then you would use one of these. So for example, might say while staying active. So that's all you have to do. That's your compulsory task. The next task that I would like you to do, if you get the opportunity, is highlight in different colors the independent and dependent clause. So wander through the charming telegraph station until you see the original site of Alice Springs' first European settlement. So here, okay, you will put in one color. I might actually put the word you can. The phrase, so it makes more sense. Wander through the charming telegraphs. And then that one will be purple because it is the independent clause. It can be on its own, and then that is the dependent clause. Once you've done that, get up and move. Okay, and I'm just going to put the religion video on this here. So we're going to be looking at a cure of a leper from Mark 1:40 to 45. So if you had leprosy back in the time of Jesus, it was a disease that was not very nice at all. So it was a lot scarier, I must say, probably than any virus that we can actually have at the moment. But it would attack the skin, and people will get a lot of boils, and their skin will start to peel, and those people were thought to have been cursed by God. Now, that probably isn't true, but that's what people thought. And if you were a leper in the time of Jesus, you were excluded from society. You couldn't go to the main town. You had to be on the outskirts, and you couldn't really, then your family also will be shunned. So it wasn't a very nice thing to have. Here are some of the key words. So, leprosy is a disease of the skin and the nerves. It frightened people, and they were separated from the rest of society. Okay, now clean, I don't really need to read this, but you know what clean means in comparison to being dirty. But they also believe that if your skin was unclean, that you were actually cursed by God back in those days. If somebody is stern or sternly speaking, they're quite serious. A command is to give an instruction or an order. Testimony is when you are telling someone what you saw or what you know. So if you have a testimony, that's why they will give a testimony at court. Proclaimed is to announce officially or publicly. For example, Jesus proclaimed the good news. Okay, and I'll just go back here. A leper came to him begging him and kneeling. He said to him, "If you choose, you can make me clean." And have a look at the images here. So you can see that here is the leper that's coming to beg towards Jesus. Moved with pity, Jesus stretched out his hand and touched him. Now, that's a really key point, because you would not touch somebody with leprosy back in those days because you will catch it. It was a contact disease, and then you would then have leprosy and you'll be excluded from society. Moved with pity, Jesus stretched out his hand and touched him and said to him, "I do choose. Be made clean." Immediately, the leprosy left him and he was made clean. After sternly warning him, he sent him away at once, saying to him, "See that you say nothing to anyone, but go. Show yourself to the priests and offer for our cleansing what Moses commanded as a testimony to them." But he went out and began to proclaim it freely and to spread the word, so that Jesus could no longer go into a town openly, but stay out in the country, and people came to him from every quarter. Okay, all I want you to do today is, we will unpack this story throughout the week, but I want you to show me what you believe this story was about. Now, remember, this man was unclean, he had leprosy, and he was healed by Jesus. Jesus said, "Don't go and tell anybody, just go to the priests and let them know what has happened, but don't go to all of society." But the man did anyway, and I wonder why he did that. So just it could be any type of image that comes to your mind. It could be an image of the story or a representation, and just upload it.